Hey guys, there are a few different strategies for this dragon. The one I'm about to show is not the most efficient, but it is the most common and it's quite easy to follow. The raid leader will usually put down a line of markers and ask you to pick a color, so everyone except the two tanks will need to assign themselves to one. The tanks must always stand together because the boss basic attack is some kind of splashing hit, and if there is no one to share it with you, then you will take a massive amount of damage. Throughout the raid, the tanks need to swap aggro whenever they hear the game prompting them by saying take turns taunting, because the boss puts a armor debuff on the tanks and makes them very vulnerable to damage. The first mechanism is the pillar and the pyro. So a pillar will be dropped on the ground. The dragon will summon a pyro to attack it. You must stop the pyro from destroying it, or the dragon will cast a map-wide AoE and wipe the whole raid. At the same time, lava and volcano will spawn underneath your feet. Just make sure to dodge that. Tanks should try to dodge to the same direction or they will take a massive hit. After that is the second pillar and pyro, followed by dragon roar and death meteor. So for death meteor, two selected players will have this shadow beneath their feet. They must separate, but then the rest of the players must stack on top of them to absorb the AoE damage. After that, the boss will perform a knockback. You must be behind him or you'll be pushed into the lava. For this strategy, on the first knockback, everyone runs back to the dragon. On the second knockback, only one healer runs back with the tanks and the rest of the DPS will stay behind. After the first knockback, the dragon will drop the third pillar and summon the third pyro. Can't see it very well here, but the ranged DPS usually have to run back and get it. After the third pyro is the weakness phase. This is where the DPS should use all the cooldowns and try to do as much damage as possible. Usually you would aim to get the dragon to be about 50% at the end of this phase. Once that's done, the dragon will summon armor on the pillars, which need to be taken down. Doing so will summon another pyro, and the DPS will need to take care of it before it gets to the pillar again. After the first armor is taken down, you will see these marks underneath your feet. Everyone except the tanks must run to their spots. The tanks will work out who has aggro. The one that does will stay still. The other one will need to move slightly to the left to space out the AoE. Wait until the lava appears before you move, because the point is no one else can be hit by these fireballs, otherwise they will create this AoE again. At the same time as the lava, the dragon will do a second death meteor, so same thing, stack up on the legs, make sure the two shadows are separated. Then the dragon does the second knockback. This time, only the two tanks and one healer runs back to the original spot. Rest of the DPS and one healer targets the armor on the third pillar at the back, gets that down before running back to the dragon. The video is from a tank's perspective, so DPS needs to stay behind. Now, notice how the tanks are on the left side of the dragon. This is when it summons these fireballs dropping from the sky. The tanks need to take turns in catching it. Otherwise, as you see, you will take a pretty big hit. At this time, the DPS should have run back and target the second shield on the right, but not completely destroy it. Leave a little bit on it until 4 players get this ring under their feet. A bunch of ads pop up, destroy those, and then finish the shield. At the same time, these 2 orbs will appear, one purple, one red. They will chase after 2 players who need to lead them into colliding into each other. Otherwise, they will kill whoever they are targeting. And once all that is done, you will get to the second weakness phase. If you have a good DPS team, then you will be able to finish the raid in this phase. Otherwise, the boss will do another knockback, do another lineup, and then summon a few more ads. You'll just have to play that part by ear. That's basically it. Thanks for watching. More Tarisland content in my channel.